Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Ria. Today I want to talk about setting healthy boundaries. So I posted a video on TikTok about how empaths always tend to attract friends that need therapy, people who are broken. And I talked about setting healthy boundaries and I had a lot of questions. So I'm going to break it down in this video. It will be like a longer version of the video I posted on TikTok. So basically, my video was about empaths that always end up being the therapist friend. So first of all, I just want to clarify that the term empath is not new age. They use it a lot in the new age, but it's not a new age term. Empath is a term in psychology, just like narcissist is a term in psychology. So empaths, or highly sensitive people, or people who have spiritual gifts, they often tend to have a nurturing spirit. And because you have a nurturing spirit, people can sense that. People can sense that you're a good listener, that you empathize with them, and you make them feel seen. Not everyone is able to make others feel seen because most people only care about themselves. So that is the narcissist spectrum. So on the spectrum, you have the empath, and on the other opposite side of the spectrum, you have narcissism. So empaths really feel other people's emotions and can get drained easily because of that. And so empaths always end up being the person that people vent to. And I feel like this is why it's very important to have strong boundaries, because if you don't have strong and healthy boundaries, people will just use you as their free therapist. And they will not consider at all that they are like putting a heavy burden on your shoulders, because they only care about getting that emotional release from dumping all of their emotional baggage on you. And so that's one of the reasons why a lot of empaths struggle with their friendships, because it can tend to be a one-sided friendship. So there's a difference between a friend that is going through a difficult time and needs your support, or someone who just generally enjoys venting and complaining about things all the time. So I'll give you some red flags to look for and how to deal with them. So I'm not against offering emotional support to a friend in need, but offering emotional support and being someone's therapist is very, very different. First of all, offering emotional support to a friend will be something that is not a burden on your shoulders. When your friend is respectful of your boundaries and your friend is aware, has some self-awareness to know when is the right time and place to discuss heavy topics, that's when you know they are emotionally mature and you can provide emotional support to a friend in need. But there are some people who have absolutely no respect for your boundaries, or who have no clue on how to read the room, and they just dump all their emotional baggage. As soon as a negative thought enters their mind, they just blur it out without even thinking. Or as soon as the smallest inconvenience happens to them, you're the first person that they call. And so this is really a huge red flag that shows lack of emotional maturity from that person. Doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, but it means that they lack a lot of emotional maturity. So if they are your real friend, if they are genuine people, but they just lack some emotional maturity, you can tell them, listen, I'm here for you, but I need a warning before you discuss heavy topics like these, because I was having a good day until I read your message and it is affecting my mood. So let me know beforehand so that I'm in the right state of mind to handle those kind of topics. That's a loving way to set boundaries with those kinds of people. Now, if they get mad, that's when you know that they just never respected you or your boundaries. So then you have no other course of action but to cut off the relationship or to take your distances. Sometimes familiarity breeds lack of respect. Unfortunately, some people are like this. The more they get familiar with you, the less they respect you or your boundaries. So by creating a healthy distance, they will start respecting you. Now, believe me, I wish I could help you as an empath to stop attracting these kind of people, but we live in a world where a lot of people have a lot of emotional baggage and a lot of people need therapy. So unfortunately, these kind of people are naturally drawn to people like you, to people who have a nurturing spirit, to people who make them feel seen and make them feel like someone is there and is listening to them. Have you ever talked to someone and really feel that they're not listening and they don't care about what you're saying and they're just waiting for you to stop talking until they can start talking about themselves again? Yeah, there's a lot of these people out there. So when people come across people like you, they are just looking to get all of their emotional baggage off of their chest. And I know it's unfair. So that's why you need to have strong, firm boundaries and don't ever let anyone make you feel guilty for having them. If they get mad at you for having these boundaries, it means they never respected you or your boundaries. And I wouldn't necessarily call them a narcissist. Everybody is on different levels of the spectrum between empath and narcissist, and they're definitely less empathetic than you if they just don't feel bad about dumping all of their emotional baggage on you. Typically, an empath will feel a little bit hesitant before dumping all of their emotional baggage on other people because empaths tend to be highly self-aware. So if someone is just treating you as their vent box, then you know that they are definitely somewhere on the narcissist spectrum. Now, when that person is constantly venting and complaining, then they are just a negative person, and you can ask yourself whether you want to spend time with that kind of attitude, because that will end up affecting your mental health. So there's a difference between a friend that is going through a difficult time and needs your support, or someone who just generally enjoys venting and complaining about things all the time. And how much is too much? Well, there's no set limit. It's how much is too much for you. When does it actually become a burden to you? And when it starts feeling heavy for you, that's when it's too much. It will be different for each person. I personally was friends with someone who was a good friend to me, but they just had a negative attitude all the time, and I tolerated it for years without saying anything. And whenever it would get too much, I would just take my distances. But then in the end, I just got real with the person and I told them, listen, I just can't deal with this anymore, and I don't want to have these types of conversations anymore. And they didn't take it well, because people will become entitled to you being their therapist. See, if you do it long enough, they become entitled to it. Let's say you have a neighbor and every day you leave your house, you give them $100 bill. In the beginning, they will be very appreciative. But if you do it over the course of 2 years, then the day you stop giving them that $100 bill, they'll feel like you took something away from them. That is human nature. It's also part of the reason why highly sensitive people struggle to maintain their friendships, because they have a hard time saying no in the beginning, and then they let things get out of hand, and then when they just have too much, the friendships break. Or it could be because genuinely empaths are attracting narcissists. I mean, this dynamic is well known in psychology, that somehow narcissists are drawn to empaths and empaths always end up attracting narcissists. Not everyone who falls somewhere on the narcissist spectrum is a bad person, like I said, but the empath almost feels guilty for expressing their needs. They want to be there for the other person. But over the course of time, you know, when you see that this person is really not respectful of your time, of your energy, and has no consideration for you or your well-being, because they have no problem dumping all of their emotional garbage on you, that's when you know they're not your friends. They're just looking for a free therapist. So know how to recognize the difference between a real friend that is in need of emotional support or someone who is just looking for a free counselor. I hope this helps. If you're new to this channel, subscribe below and hit the notification button. And if you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.